An ordinary high school student is transported, along with his entire class, to a fantasy world. Everyone around him gains incredible magical powers, except him. All he gets is a simple transmutation skill, the kind used by blacksmiths and craftsmen. But this weak ability will become the spark that changes his destiny forever. The anime begins with a guy named Hajime Nagumo awakening in a cave within the Great Orcus Labyrinth, a dangerous world filled with monsters. He contemplates his dire situation and the possibility of death while attempting to find an exit. He witnesses a bunny monster effortlessly defeating 2 other monsters with its powerful attacks. However, their encounter is interrupted when a larger predator arrives and kills the bunny, devouring it. Hajime tries to escape but is attacked by the predator, resulting in him losing his arm. He manages to survive by utilizing his special ability called Transmute, which allows him to reshape objects. He discovers a sacred stone containing holy water, which he uses to heal his injuries and remove curses. Hajime then recalls the skills he learned from the royal library of his high school and realizes that he is far weaker compared to his classmates in terms of combat ability. As Hajime delves deeper into the labyrinth, he experiences flashbacks revealing how he ended up in this predicament. Nagumo and his classmates initially entered the Great Orcus Labyrinth together. A classmate named Emma Negawa saves Hajime when he struggles against a monster, emphasizing the need for Hajime to work harder. During their exploration, they come across a glance crystal, which teleports them to a trap filled with monsters. In the face of danger, the group relies on a divine protection spell for defense, but it eventually fails. Hajime uses his transmute ability to fend off the monsters, while his classmates make their way across a bridge. However, Hajime is struck by a direct attack from one of his teammates, causing him to fall off the bridge, which collapses due to the monster's onslaught. Thus, on the brink of death and feeling betrayed by his classmates, Hajime questions why he chose to train in the Great Orcus Labyrinth. Determined to survive, he resorts to eating monsters for sustenance, and manages to trap 2 wolf monsters. As he consumes their flesh, he experiences a peculiar sensation from the wolf's blood, but successfully survives. Examining his status plate, he discovers that his level has increased, and gains additional skills related to lightning and wolf attributes. Hajime creates a revolver-like weapon, named Donner, using his transmutation skills, along with crafting blasting bullets from different stones. With his newly acquired abilities, he defeats a bunny monster, further enhancing his skills. Eventually, he faces off against the larger predator, once again, and emerges victorious in a rematch. Nagumo becomes determined to eliminate various monsters in his path, while his teammates explain the entire situation to the king of the kingdom. They describe how they unintentionally entered a trap on the 20th stage of the Great Orcus Labyrinth, which teleported them to the unprecedented 65th stage, where they encountered the fearsome behemoth. The king reminds them that their presence in this world was part of an agreement. Meanwhile, Nagumo's teammate named Shizuku experiences flashbacks as Pope Ishtar, the king's servant, explains the reason behind their summoning as heroes. The demons in this world have gained control over monsters, and humanity is on the verge of destruction. The heroes were summoned by the prayers of the people of Taurus to combat the demons and their monster allies with their incredible powers. Shizuku remembers how her girlfriend Kaori agreed to fight demons alongside her. While reminiscing, Shizuku starts suspecting Hiyama, another teammate, as she notices his constant conflict with Nagumo. She speculates that Hiyama might be acting out of jealousy, but she pushes aside the thought for the time being. Meanwhile, Kaori 3 wakes up from her unconscious state, having lost sight of Nagumo. As Nagumo continues his exploration, he encounters one-eyed monsters behind a door. Engaging in battle, he manages to defeat them using Donner's powerful shots. He finds mana stones within their bodies, which he collects to unlock the door. Behind the door, he discovers a girl who has been sealed within a stone. The girl reveals that she belongs to a long line of vampires and was sealed away by her uncle and the ministers due to her immortality and rapid healing powers. Utilizing his abilities, Nagumo successfully breaks the stone, freeing the girl. He gives her the name Yue. While escaping, Yue and Nagumo come face to face with a scorpion monster. The monster attacks Nagumo, severely injuring him. Despite his injuries, Nagumo unleashes multiple attacks in an attempt to defeat the monster, but his efforts prove futile. Then, Yue uses her Azure Blaze ability to launch a powerful attack on the monster. Taking advantage of the distraction, Nagumo successfully shoots the monster's head with Donner, ultimately killing it. After the battle, Yue explains her unique nature of regeneration instead of aging. She also reveals that all the labyrinths are created by mavericks, with each maverick residing at the center of a labyrinth. Finding the maverick could potentially lead them to the surface. Motivated by this knowledge, Nagumo crafts another rifle named Schlag, and the duo continues their journey in search of the labyrinth center. As they progress, Nagumo shares the story of how they were summoned by the god Ahit to fight against the demons. He reflects on his own uselessness among his classmates and how they betrayed him. Now he no longer cares about them, and focuses solely on improving himself. Nagumo decides to bring Yue along with him on his quest to return home. During their travels, they encounter a group of dinosaurs with flowers on their heads, which they manage to evade. Eventually, they find themselves in a cave surrounded by green crystals. Suddenly, a flower grows on Yue's head, causing her to launch multiple attacks on Nagumo. A monster with controlling powers appears, but Nagumo skillfully defeats it with his shots. Foreign regular food. Undeterred, Nagumo and Yue continue their journey, successfully reaching the 100th floor of the labyrinth. As they reach the bottom of the abyss, Nagumo and Yue confront the final boss, a six-faced dragon monster. The dragons launch their attacks, but Nagumo and Yue skillfully defend themselves. In a powerful counterattack, Nagumo fires multiple shots with his Donner, while Yue utilizes glacial sleets to inflict heavy injuries on the dragon. However, the dragons quickly heal themselves with the assistance of a healing dragon. Nagumo and Yue decide to target the healing dragon first, launching a barrage of attacks. However, the defending dragon takes all the damage onto itself, acting as a perfect balance between attacker, defender, and healer. Suddenly, a dragon manipulates Yue's mind, attempting to harm her. Nagumo comes to her rescue, saving her from the illusion. Yue, feeling abandoned once again, is comforted when Nagumo wakes her up with a kiss and reassures her that they are going home together. Nagumo grabs his Schlag rifle and delivers a powerful shot, eliminating 3 of the dragon's faces. Yue unleashes her Heavenly Blaze ability, combining their efforts to defeat all of the dragons. However, another dragon monster appears and launches a fierce attack on Yue. Nagumo defends her with his crafted rifle, but in the process he sustains heavy injuries and collapses. The dragon continues its assault, but Yue, determined to save Nagumo, carries him on her back while evading the attacks. Yue tries to awaken Nagumo using holy water and attacks the dragon with his revolver, but her attempts fail. Seeing Yue in tears, Nagumo suddenly awakens with renewed strength and protects her from a dragon's attack. Nagumo sets up a trap by creating holes with his shots and filling them with grenades. The trap causes rocks to fall on the dragon, momentarily incapacitating it. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Nagumo combines his transmutation ability with Yue's Azure Blades, resulting in the defeat of the dragon. Meanwhile, Nagumo's classmates continue their battle against monsters elsewhere. However, Kaori, still mourning Nagumo's loss, holds on to a deep sense of grief and kindness for him. The next morning, Nagumo wakes up to find himself naked in a house accompanied by Yue. He asks her what happened the previous night, and Yue explains that she had opened the door and taken him out. With the help of holy water, she managed to heal his injuries. They find clothes in the house and prepare to explore the surrounding area. While searching the rooms, they come across one with a significant sign on the floor, accompanied by a skeletal corpse sitting on a chair. As Nagumo steps on the sign, he witnesses the soul of a man named Oscar Orcus emerging from the skeleton. Oscar reveals that he is the creator of the labyrinth and commends Nagumo for surviving the trials and reaching this point. He informs Nagumo that the message he is delivering is pre-recorded. Meanwhile, Kaori, Shizuku, and the rest of their teammates are engaged in a rematch against the behemoth monster on the 65th floor. Fighting on the same bridge, they unleash multiple attacks with various powers, eventually defeating the monster with a final limit break blow. On the other side, Oscar Orcus bestows his power upon Nagumo and advises him not to use it for evil purposes. Nagumo experiences an ultimate sensation and realizes that the gods and mavericks were not evil, but liberators. They utilize the skeleton corpse as fertilizer for fields and use the Orcus ring to unlock other rooms. Together, they learn different skills, and Nagumo crafts various weapons. Nagumo also consumes monster meat to further enhance his abilities. They undergo intense training for 2 months and decide to confront the monsters and kingdoms of the world together, protecting each other. Nagumo and Yu successfully teleport to another world, where they are greeted by a rabbit girl, eagerly awaiting their arrival. She pleads with them to save her family, explaining that if she lets them go, her future race will be destroyed. She possesses the unique ability of future sight, which is why she knew they would come to help her. But Nagumo initially suggests they continue on their way. Yue insists on taking her along as their guide. Together, they embark on a journey to rescue the rabbit girl's family. Riding on a bike summoned by Nagumo, along the way they encounter and defeat numerous dragons. The rabbit girl continues to explain the dire situation faced by the beastmen, who are unable to protect themselves from monsters. However, she possesses a special magic called Future Sight. Nagumo impresses the entire beastmen community with his exceptional skills, and they decide to train the beastmen to fight against the monsters and protect themselves. Eventually, they come across a magnificent tree that has stood for ages without rotting. The people explain its significance to Nagumo, who notices a sign resembling Oscar's. He realizes that this tree may be the entrance to another labyrinth. Placing the Orcus ring in one of the holes, Nagumo discovers that by clearing the other 4 labyrinths, the door will open, granting them access to ancient magic of regeneration. Nagumo informs the people about the plan and urges them to train themselves while he continues his journey. He takes the rabbit girl along with Yue with him as they proceed forward, determined to conquer the remaining labyrinths and unlock the ancient magic. After successfully entering the labyrinth in Risen Gorge, Nagumo and Yue encounter a door that welcomes them in a creepy yet amusing manner. While exploring, Nagumo inadvertently triggers a trap of big rock balls and blades, but they manage to defend themselves and continue onward. With the help of the bunny girl's hammer, they eventually arrive at the place they left before. Undeterred, they press forward and find themselves in a hall filled with big armors. They easily defeat them and proceed by jumping on a rock that transports them to Milady Risen, the boss of the labyrinth. Nagumo explains their purpose of seeking the ancient magic, and Risen questions their ultimate goal and why they desire this magic. Nagumo shares his aspiration of returning home, and initially, Risen refuses to disclose the information. In response, Nagumo launches missile attacks, initiating a battle. After multiple exchanges of attacks and counters, Risen employs his ability to manipulate rocks, but Nagumo, with Yue and Shia, manages to defend themselves by jumping from one rock to another. Yue unleashes her Force Rupture ability, and Nagumo traps Risen with ropes. Finally, Shia the bunny girl deals a powerful blow to Risen's crystal with her hammer, resulting in his defeat. Nagumo and Yue commend Shia for her contribution. Before parting ways, Risen offers Nagumo a speech wishing him luck in achieving his end goal. While proceeding further, they come to know who Risen actually was. He appreciates his own good luck speech while Shia becomes angry and beats him. Risen reveals that his magic was gravitic in nature and advises them to make good use of it. He gives them a ring and rare materials before escorting them out through a river tunnel. Foreign. Upon reaching the surface, they head to a hotel and book a room where Yue and Shia engage in a playful argument about who gets to sleep with Nagumo. And later, Nagumo, Yue, and Shia encounter Yor-chan, the head of the city. He asks them to do him a favor and rescue a person named Will Kudata who is lost in the forest due to a group of monsters. Nagumo initially refuses as he has his own goals to accomplish. However, he offers 2 conditions to Chang: to provide them with status plates and to comply with his requests in the future. Chang agrees to the conditions and they proceed towards the farming area. While stopping at a restaurant to eat rice, Nagumo unexpectedly finds his sensei along with other classmates. Sensei is overjoyed to see him alive, but Nagumo starts ignoring her, causing her to continue talking in vain. Meanwhile, Shia and Yue introduce themselves to Sensei. However, Sensei's attempts to engage Nagumo in conversation receive only rude responses. In the midst of this, a Templar Knight arrives and admonishes Nagumo for his behavior, insulting Shia by referring to her as a filthy beastman and suggesting she should cut her ears to look more human. Shia feels embarrassed, and Yue retaliates by calling the knight a small man. The situation escalates as the knight attempts to draw his sword, prompting Nagumo to fire a shot at the knight's arm, warning him to mind his manners. Yukachi, one of Nagumo's colleagues, has flashbacks of Nagumo saving her life without receiving any thanks. Nagumo walks away from the scene, expressing his disinterest in the others, and warning them not to get in his way as he won't hesitate to kill if necessary. Sensei persistently calls out to him, but he continues to distance himself. Later that night, Nagumo speaks with Sensei alone in her room, explaining what happened to him. He reveals that after the ancient age of God, the world was engulfed in a war between humans, demons, and beastmen. Heroes emerged to stop the war, known as liberators, but they were eventually labeled as mavericks and hunted down by their own god. To survive, they built labyrinths and created trials and monsters. Nagumo confesses that he doesn't care about this conflict, he simply wants to go home. Sensei informs him that Shirazaki, their classmate, never gave up on him. Nagumo urges Sensei to warn Shirazaki about her friends and reveals that his fall was not an accident, but a deliberate act targeting him. Later, as Nagumo, Yue, and Shia make their way towards the forest, Sensei and their classmates join them, and they venture forth together. Later, as they continue their search, Nagumo deploys human-locating automatons, Ornis, to scout the nearby areas for any signs of Kudata. The Ornis discover broken shields, swords, and bags, as well as tracks left by a 4-legged creature. They follow the tracks up the mountains and eventually reach a waterflow. Nagumo senses someone's presence, and Yue uses her fissuring wave ability to create a path behind the waterflow. They find Kudata, who explains how a black dragon attacked him and his teammates, resulting in their deaths. Kudata feels guilt-ridden, but Nagumo reassures him that there may be a reason he survived. On their way back, they encounter the black dragon once again. The dragon launches a powerful attack, but Nagumo successfully defends himself and the others using a metal shield. Yukachi comes to Nagumo's aid behind the shield, and Yue uses her freezing ability while Shia attacks with her hammer. However, the dragon quickly recovers and strikes Shia with its tail. Nagumo retaliates by firing multiple shots, weakening the dragon. The dragon then directly targets Kudata, but Yue defends him with her freezing ability. Nagumo instructs the rest of the team to stay out of the way, acknowledging that he can't protect everyone. Yue urges everyone to follow her lead. The dragon unleashes another powerful attack on Nagumo, prompting him to take out his rifle and shoot at the dragon, causing it to fall. Nagumo tries to capture the dragon using ropes, but it proves to be too powerful, so he orders Shia to continue her hammer attacks. As the dragon falls, Nagumo places a rod in a vulnerable spot on its body, causing the dragon to scream in a female voice. Nagumo insists that the dragon tell the truth, and the dragon reveals that she was manipulated and ordered to kill the young man and his companions. She explains that she flew from a hidden village to investigate travelers from another world. While resting in the mountains, a man dressed in dark robes manipulated her. The dragon further reveals that the man is amassing an army of monsters. Nagumo dismisses the dragon's claims and contemplates killing her for the chaos she caused. However, Yue intervenes, stating that the dragon is not their enemy. The dragon pleads for the rod to be removed as its presence is causing her pain and could lead to her death. Nagumo removes the rod and the dragon transforms into a beautiful girl named Tio Clarus, a member of the Dragonborn clan. Tio explains that the army of monsters being gathered by the dark-robed man intends to attack the town. Nagumo receives a signal indicating that 60,000 monsters are marching toward the town and are 2 days away. Sensei suggests warning the townspeople and calling for help, but Nagumo refuses, stating that his primary concern is the safety of Kudata. The next morning, Sensei sits at a table with Nagumo and the other teammates, attempting to convince Nagumo to save the people from the approaching army. Nagumo initially resists, but he eventually agrees, respecting his teacher's command. They begin preparations together, evacuating the townspeople and building defensive walls. Nagumo assures Sensei that he will be fine, and she urges him to come back safely. As he readies his rifle, Shirazaki approaches Nagumo to express her gratitude for rescuing her in the labyrinth. Nagumo tells her not to die, acknowledging her bravery. Soon the army of monsters arrives, and Nagumo gives his final touches to a speech he will deliver to the defending townspeople. He mentions Eiko Sensei, the goddess of agriculture, ensuring the people of victory. With a display of confidence, Nagumo shoots down a dragon, signaling the beginning of the battle. Tio Clarus, Shia, and Yue unleash multiple attacks, decimating a significant portion of the enemy forces. He applauds. Meanwhile, Nagumo rides his bike with Shia, launching attacks with his hammer and grenades, pushing the remaining army back. Finally, Nagumo and Shia manage to capture the man in the black robe who is controlling the army. They bring him to Sensei, only to discover that he is one of Sensei's students named Shimizu. Sensei questions him about his actions, and Shimizu explains that he captured a monster in the mountains and made a contract with a demon who promised to hail him as a hero if he killed Sensei. However, Nagumo thwarted his plans. In the midst of the conversation, Shimizu attempts to kill Sensei by grabbing her, and threatens Nagumo to hand over all his weapons or he will kill Sensei with a poison needle. Just as the situation intensifies, a dragon attacks them from behind. Shia gets injured while defending them, and Sensei is struck by the poison needle. Nagumo quickly assists Sensei by using holy water and kissing her while Shia's injuries are healed. Shimizu, heavily injured and starving, is left to die. Sensei asks Nagumo to help him, but Nagumo refuses, recognizing him as an enemy, and ultimately kills him. With Kudata in tow, they continue on their journey, leaving behind the aftermath of the battle. Later, Nagumo and his teammates safely escort Kudata back home to the town's leader. They request another status plate, and Tio Claris joins them, receiving a gold top-rank status plate. As Tio lies down in bed, she begins to have flashbacks of her training to fight against the gods, with her dying father telling her that someone will eventually defeat God. Tio shares this information with her elders and the people, spreading hope for better times to come. The following morning, Yue and Tio go shopping while Nagumo and Shio explore various places in town. Shio perceives it as a date and they visit an aquarium where Nagumo encounters a talking fish. Sensing that it's a monster, Nagumo inquires how it ended up there. The fish explains that a group of people brought him there through an underground current while he was on the surface. Foreign. The talking fish expresses gratitude to Nagumo and Shia for releasing him, and warns Shia to be cautious of a large gang of slavers in the city. While wandering around the city, Nagumo senses something beneath the surface and identifies it as a weak and young child. Meanwhile, Yue and Tio discuss Shia's caring nature. Nagumo and Shia discover a little girl in a tunnel and bring her to a nearby house where they bathe and care for her. Nagumo asks the girl, named Miu, about herself. She explains that she was separated from her mother, lost, and then captured by a gang of slavers to be sold at a black market auction. Nagumo decides to hand Miu over to the city guards to help her return home. Although she opposes leaving Nagumo, he insists on giving her to the guards. As they make their way back, Miu cries profusely. Suddenly, Nagumo and Shia hear an explosion and rush back to the building where they left Miu with the guards. They discover that the slavers have taken her back, injuring the guards. The gang challenges Nagumo, stating that if he wants Miu alive, he must return with the bunny girl and hand her over as well. Considering them as enemies, Nagumo decides to eliminate the entire gang. Meanwhile, Yue and Tio enjoy their time together, unaware of the situation. Nagumo informs them about what transpired during their date, and shares his plan to torture the gang members to locate Miu. They split into two groups to search for the gang's hideouts throughout the town. Nagumo continues his search for Miu, going from one hideout to another, freeing many child slaves along the way. The boss of the slavers' gang takes Miu and puts her in a water cage on stage for auction. Suddenly, Nagumo arrives, shooting and killing the boss with multiple shots. He rescues Miu and takes her on a flying ride to witness the fireworks around the city. Meanwhile, Yue uses her powerful abilities to destroy every hideout with a single thunder attack. Nagumo successfully reunites with Miu and introduces Yue as his lover and Tio as a pervert. Miu expresses her gratitude to Nagumo, calling him Big Bro, but Nagumo insists she simply call him by his name. However, she refuses and lovingly refers to him as Papa. Later, they proceed to the guild leader, who identifies them as adventurers. Nagumo hands him a letter from the foreign guild leader, and the guild leader recognizes their increased strength. During their conversation, a man named Endo enters the room, visibly terrified and carrying an urgent message about a demon in the labyrinth. Endo is astonished by Nagumo's newfound power and acknowledges that he has changed significantly, expressing relief that Nagumo is alive. He urgently requests their help in facing the demon, explaining that all the heroes are trapped on the 99th floor with monsters. According to Endo at first, the heroes found nothing on the floor, but suddenly a demon appeared with a para on her shoulder, claiming it was a trap. The demon attempted to negotiate, enticing the heroes to join her side and ridiculing them as foolish heroes. However, they rejected her offer, leading the demon to reveal that one of their friends had accepted her proposition in the past. As the heroes refused again, the demon ordered her monsters to attack. Shizuku and Suzu were knocked down by the onslaught of numerous summoned monsters. While the heroes unleashed their various abilities to defend themselves, Shizuku launched multiple sword attacks, but the monsters quickly healed themselves with the demon's power, leaving him feeling defeated. Amidst the chaos, Shizuku ordered Endo to inform Captain Meld, an assassin who could easily escape the situation. Endo vowed to find someone to help, relaying this information to Nagumo and the others. Meanwhile, Miu will listen to the story while eating, unintentionally irritating Endo, who shouted at her in frustration. Nagumo reprimanded Endo, warning him not to speak to Miu in such a manner and intimidating him. In the labyrinth, one of the heroes used their limit break to defeat a monster, prompting the demon to unleash a powerful attack that resulted in the death of a hero. The leader of the heroes yelled for them to retreat, but Shizuku slapped him and urged him to remain calm. Endo explained how he ran toward Captain Meld, who was guarding the teleportation circle on the 77th floor, to inform him of the situation. However, the pursuing monsters continued their assault, attacking both of them. Captain Meld instructed Endo to use the teleportation circle to inform the others, emphasizing the importance of his survival. Endo felt immense guilt as he realized that Captain Meld wanted him to live. As the remaining heroes made their way back to the teleportation circle, some of them, overcome with fear of death, suggested following the demon's instructions. However, in the midst of this discussion, Captain Meld arrived, covered in blood and severely injured. He urged them to survive, stating that the battle had been their own from the start, and then died from a demon's attack. The guild leader requested Nagumo to save the heroes, and Endo reminded him that they were their friends, to which Nagumo vehemently refused, declaring them nothing more than strangers. Meanwhile, in the labyrinth, the leader launched a powerful attack, driven by the sight of his captain's death and his own injuries, striking the demon with his sword. Despite Nagumo's initial refusal, memories of his close friends and allies like Kaori flooded his mind. He remembered Kaori's promise to protect him when he was weak. In the labyrinth, chaos reigned, as everyone fought to survive the demon's attacks, with Kaori diligently healing the wounded. In a critical moment, both Kaori and Shizuku found themselves on the brink of death. Suddenly, a massive blade descended from above, slaying two of the large monsters, surprising everyone, including the demon. Nagumo had entered the labyrinth. As they make their way towards the heroes, Nagumo effortlessly defeats Behemoth with a single shot and creates a shortcut using his pile bunker, leading them directly into the midst of the battle. Nagumo arrives, eliminating two monsters, and calls out to his friends Kaori and Shizuku. They are initially skeptical of his identity as Nagumo, but eventually calm down. The rest of the team, including Endo, joins them through the shortcut. Nagumo assigns Yue to protect Endo and the others while she attends to the fallen knights. The battle begins, and the demon challenges Nagumo, seeking to kill him with her own hands. She unleashes a magical attack, summoning a monster, but Nagumo effortlessly catches it with his bare hands through the circle, eliminating the monsters. The demon summons more monsters, including cats and wolves, but Nagumo swiftly eliminates them with his precise shots. As the monsters continue to appear, Nagumo remains unfazed and defeats them one by one. Wow. The demon then summons a turtle monster, which launches an attack on Nagumo. He defends himself with a shield and redirects the attack towards the demon, injuring her. Nagumo fires multiple shots at the turtle monster and targets the healing parrot. When the turtle opens its mouth for another attack, he throws a grenade inside and defeats it. The heroes watch in shock as they witness Nagumo's intense battle skills. Two monsters approach the group, and Suzu, one of Nagumo's classmates, tries to protect them. However, Yue effortlessly handles the situation with her Dark Firmament ability, vanquishing the monsters. Tio and Shaya also deal with monsters that come their way. A snake monster attempts to attack Kaori and Shizuku, but Nagumo throws a sword towards Shizuku, who skillfully slices the snake. Shizuku feels the sword is light and powerful, surprising herself and intimidating the demon. Nagumo taunts the demon, asking if that's all she's got, and then she attacks him with a powerful move called Crashing Goal. The heroes scream, thinking Nagumo has been hurt, but he emerges unscathed. In the midst of the chaos, Miyu calls Nagumo Papa, which angers Kaori. The demon tries to escape but is blocked by a rod thrown by Nagumo, leading to a checkmate situation. Nagumo effortlessly defends against the demon's high-level magic and labels her as a monster. He asks her how she obtained the monsters and what her purpose is in the labyrinth. Refusing to talk, the demon endures 2 shots to her legs from Nagumo, causing significant damage. Nagumo theorizes that the monsters were created using ancient magic, and that the demon is here to reach the end of the labyrinth. The demon warns Nagumo that one day his lover will find and kill him. Nagumo asserts that he will kill anyone who stands in his way, and proceeds to kill the demon. Later, the group asks Shia to revive Captain Meld, and she assures them that he will be okay. Hajime praises Yue for her performance with love, and Kaori is relieved that Nagumo is still alive, leading her to cry tears of joy. On their way back, they easily handle the spawning skeletons. However, the leader, Amanogawa, becomes furious with Nagumo for killing the demon instead of just defeating her. Nagumo explains to him that he lives by a kill or be killed mentality and shows no mercy. He states that he won't hesitate to kill Amanogawa as well. Nagumo reveals that he came to the labyrinth because he owed a debt to Shirasaki Kawiri, and now that debt is settled, it's time to bid farewell. As they finally return, Nagumo looks at the gathered army to save them, and the guild leader believes in the truth of the letter, considering Nagumo's swift defeat of the monsters. In a surprising turn of events, Kaori proposes to Nagumo, expressing her willingness to join him on their journey. However, Nagumo confesses that he has feelings for another girl, Yue, and cannot reciprocate Kaori's affection. Understanding his decision, Kaori decides to continue her journey by Nagumo's side. Meanwhile, Yue and Kaori engage in a friendly challenge to win Nagumo's heart. With their competition set aside, they all embark on their journey once again. Nagumo extends an invitation to Kaori, and they leave early in the morning. This marks the transformation of Nagumo into a true hero, concluding the season. That concludes the anime recap. Let me know what your thoughts are, and I'm out.
The Season 2 bed ends with the King of the Kingdom knowing that the heroes are on their way back from the labyrinth and the demons are becoming more active. He orders the recruitment of more heroes. Suddenly, a guard arrives and informs them that the heroes have arrived. Among them is a princess named Liliana, along with other students who are still in training. They all rush to meet the heroes with a mix of worry and joy. Liliana is particularly happy to see everyone alive, including Shizuoko. They have a wonderful dinner together, during which Lily tells Shizuoko about the dedicated students who are training hard to become stronger. They have developed a fighting spirit against monsters and have agreed to find the heroes if they don't return. Everyone is relieved and happy about the hero's return, except for Hiyama, who is in a bad mood due to Nagumo's success. Liliana asks Shizuoka about Kori, and she explains the story of Kori's journey with Nagumo, while Kukie remains sad but saved by Nagumo in a fight. Liliana expresses her disappointment at not being able to see Nagumo, and Shizuoka notices the difference in Nagumo compared to before. On the other side, Nagumo and the others are crossing a desert area where the heat is unbearable. However, Nagumo's jeep provides a refreshing coolness inside thanks to his engineering skills. As they travel, Nagumo gets into an argument with the others about the word Papa, since Mew keeps calling him that. Corey's thoughts wander to having a baby, but Yu interrupts, reminding them of a previous engagement and their plans for the future, including her date with Haim. Yumo gets into an argument with the others about the word papa, since Mew keeps calling him that. Corey's thoughts wander to having a baby, but Yumo interrupts, reminding them of a previous engagement and their plans for the future, including her date with Jaime. They engage in a heated argument until Mew intervenes, diverting their attention. Suddenly, they notice a disturbance ahead of them, caused by sandworms, which are common in the desert and devour everything in their path. The sandworms attack, but Nagumo skillfully evades them. However, they persistently follow the group. Corey clings to Nagumo in fear, and the sandworms continue their relentless assault. Nagumo cleverly reverses the jeep while dodging the attacks. He activates the built-in missile technology in his vehicle, firing at the sandworms and successfully getting rid of them. As they try to continue their journey, they encounter even more sandworms. Nagumo equips the front of the jeep with a machine gun and eliminates the sandworms with various blasts. However, it turns out that the disturbance was caused by a person in desperate need of help. The group suggests that Corey, acting as a priest, should save him. Corey examines the person's status plate and discovers that his mana usage is overloaded due to ingested poison, putting immense pressure on his body that he cannot handle. Corey attempts to heal him with consecration magic, but it fails to have any effect. She then resorts to using Sanctorum magic, transferring mana from one person to another to prevent mana depletion. Corey drains all of the overloaded mana into her holy crystal ring, which Nagumo had given her. Finally, Corey successfully heals the person, saving him from danger. However, the root cause of the mana overload is still unresolved, and he may experience the same condition again and die. Nagumo suggests conducting a diagnosis to determine if an unknown airborne disease is the cause. As the person wakes up, Corey exclaims, believing him to be dead, and refers to him as a god. They take him into the jeep, and to their surprise, the person feels cool. Nei offers him cold water, and he introduces himself as Bis from the Dupt of Anaji. Anaji is a trade hub for seafood coming from Arisen, where Mew was born and raised. Mew expresses her hope of meeting her mother. Biz explains that the citizens of Anaji are collapsing from a fever caused by a poisonous substance that overloads their mana when they drink the contaminated water. Their oasis has been polluted, and the people can be cured by a special mineral called Stillstone, which has a calming effect on mana. However, it is mined in small quantities from Grun Volcano, and all the adventurers who usually mine it have fallen ill. Biz, as the deputy of Anaji, asks for their help. Nagumo's decision is awaited by everyone, and Mew asks Nagumo in a cute manner. Nagumo agrees to help, and Yu offers to retrieve water using her magic. Meanwhile, in the Demon Kingdom, Mickey learns about Katria's death and the number of monsters on her side. General Free confirms her death and informs Mickey that some irregulars have foiled their plans. They discover that Nagumo and the others are stronger than anticipated. General Freed decides to go to the volcano to acquire a new Age of God magic and become stronger. He instructs Mickey to defend their home and declares war against Nagumo and the others, as they have disrupted his sacred mission from his god. He plans to avenge their actions later. Nagumo and the others arrive at the beautiful Dukum of Anaji, but it has lost its lively state due to a disaster. They meet Biz's father, who learns that Biz has brought help for the people. She assists Corey in healing the many injured individuals, while Yu creates a big hole using her magic. Ashura and Nagumo use their abilities to maintain it, and with the help of tidal wave magic, Yu generates a large amount of water. They create a water storage facility, but Yu starts feeling a deficiency in mana and kisses Nagumo in front of everyone, including Mew. In an oasis, Nagumo's demon eye detects something, so he asks Biz's father about the research team's progress in finding the cause of the pollution. Unfortunately, nothing has been found yet. Nagumo generates grenades and throws them into the water, detecting something moving faster than usual. He throws more grenades, but Biz's father stops him. A jelly-like monster emerges, attempting to attack them, but they easily defend themselves. It turns out that the monster was the cause of the pollution. Nagumo aims his gun at it and easily eliminates it with one shot. A researcher checks the water and finds that it is still polluted. Tio and Yu assure them that once the water flows, fresh water will soon reach the oasis. Nagumo suggests that there may be a demon behind all this, intending to eliminate the entire kingdom. Da-Father, as the representative of the kingdom, thanks them as the saviors of their nation. Corey and Shi continue healing everyone, and the representative announces that the source of pollution has been removed, and they now have an additional supply of water. The gold rank adventurers, including Nagumo and the others, accept the task of going to Grun Volcano to mine Stillstone. Corey decides to stay with the patients along with Mew, while Nagumo gets scolded by Corey for kissing Yu. They leave with hope for a safe return. On the way, they encounter and easily eliminate some sandworms. Finally, they reach Grun Volcano, feeling intense heat. Tio, being a dragon, feels comfortable in the heat. They find a small amount of Stillstone at the entrance and decide to go deeper to mine more. As they descend, a fireball attack is easily defended by Yu. They encounter a lava bull monster which she defeats with one hammer attack, using her new feature installed by Naga. They continue forward and reach a beautiful cavern full of Stillstone. Nagumo decides to conquer the labyrinth, and as they progress, the heat becomes unbearable. Nagumo suggests taking a break and asks Yu to make an ice block, while Tio creates wind flow. Nagumo realizes he should have created air-conditioned artifacts for situations like this. Tio explains the concept of a labyrinth as a test to fight against a god. Nagumo understands that each labyrinth has its own challenges and monsters to gain experience from. This volcano labyrinth focuses on heat, which becomes more evident as they proceed. Nagumo becomes distracted by sweating breasts, but they continue on a boat floating on flowing lava. They face a huge height but manage to float easily. They finally reach the base where they encounter a guardian and face a barrage of fireball attacks. Their boat is destroyed, and they jump to different spots to defend themselves. Nagumo approaches the island and notices mana crystals. Lava snake monsters attack him as the defenders of the island. They keep generating due to the mana crystals within their bodies. Nagumo figures out how to eliminate them by destroying the mana crystals. As they eliminate the snakes one by one, she notices the mana crystals breaking on the Liberator. They realize they need to eliminate about 100 snakes to fulfill the labyrinth's concept. Everyone uses multiple attacks and abilities to eliminate the snakes, and as Nagumo eliminates the last two, a sudden blast directly hits him, leaving everyone in shock. After being injured and falling from the sky, Haim is taken to a safe area by Yuyu, who tries to heal him with holy water. They come under consecutive attacks and Tio's shield gets broken. Yuyu uses her magic to create a deflection shield, which reflects the attacks and causes the surrounding area to break apart. Yuyu becomes saddened by the memories of her past. Suddenly, the demon Gry Freight appears, riding at Dragon with other dragon troops by his side. He explains the power of a direct hit from Uranus Breath and asks about their knowledge of God's magic. Frey is shocked by Nagumo's survival, and Nagumo wakes up, insisting that Fred introduces himself first. Fred refuses, considering them all as obstacles to his god's wish. Nagumo and the others launch their attacks, but Frey's defenses prove too powerful to be harmed. Frey displaces his Age of God's power and teleports behind Nagumo, launching a powerful attack. Nagumo defends himself with his artifacts while the others create shields. Tio worries about Nagumo's vulnerability as a human and recalls her father's advice to survive and wait for the right moment, as the Dragonborn became enemies of the gods. Impressed by Frey's power, Nagumo attempts to unleash a limit break but fails. Frey launches another attack, which Nagumo defends against with his rifle. Nagumo kicks Frey, and a dragon catches Frey, taking him away. Tio appears in her true form as a black dragon and attacks the other dragon. Frey decides to use magic on the entire area, but Nagumo shoots him with his rifle, followed by another. Tio's attack against the white dragon allows it to escape. Due to low mana, Nagumo falls and is caught by Tio. Frey finds them all terrifying and comes up with a new tactic. Lava starts rising, as Frey reveals that he destroyed the cornerstone controlling the lava, causing an eruption. There is a magma chamber beneath. Frey and the other dragons escape from the roof, while Nagumo tells Tio to take his ring and escape to Anad quickly. Nagumo decides to acquire Age of God's magic to defeat Fred and promises to deliver the Stillstone to Anaji. He asks Tio for help and transfers the ring to her, leaving a message for Cory and Mew. Tio flies away while the dragons continue to attack her from above. Yui and Shi assist her in escaping. Tio endures the pain and suddenly gets attacked while trying to escape, but Nagumo's artifacts protect her. Fred sees this and intends to finish Tio, but Nagumo's artifacts surround Fra, resulting in a blast. Tio successfully escapes, putting her trust in Nagumo. She and Yu, in the kingdom, everyone hears the blast from the erupting Gran volcano. Meanwhile, Lulana encounters Shizuoka practicing her swordsmanship and discusses the castle officials' desire for Kuki to become more powerful to fight demons and brand Nagumo as a heretic. On the other hand, Hai regrets his failure to eliminate Nagumo and take Cory. Suddenly, he hears a woman's voice criticizing him for his failure and ordering him to blindly obey her like before, offering him a trade to make his wishes come true. Later, Tio arrives at the Gate of the Kingdom, where Cory asks about Nagumo and the others. Tio explains everything that happened and assures Cory that they will be caught soon as they have a plan to escape. Tio delivers a message from Nagumo asking them to meet later. Cory, along with Mew, becomes happy, and they decide to head to Arisen first to reunite Mew with her mother. Meanwhile, Nagumo and the others try to find the route they came from. They enter a room with a magic circle that controls space, and a written message appears on the wall stating that the future of humankind will be based on free will Bees Gran. Yu uses her magic to open up the wall, and they find proof of conquest and magic. Nagumo decides to swim through the lava using a ship he created, which can travel underwater. Despite worrying about the ship's ability to withstand the lava, they move forward with the help of used magic, navigating the ship through the lava. As they continue their journey, the force of the lava pushes them upward, causing them to lose control of the ship. Nagumo decides to go underwater, as the trip will end wherever it takes them. She and Yu hug Nagumo, and suddenly they are blasted out into the sea. Sharks approach them, but they are eliminated by rockets and use magic. However, Yu starts feeling a deficiency in mana and loses control. She offers her blood to help replenish Yu's mana. Later, she is unconscious while giving mana to Yu, and Yu enjoys the moment while sitting on Nagumo. She wakes up and becomes angry upon seeing Yu eating fishes. They realize they are lost, but suddenly some people approach them with sticks in hand. They appear to belong to Mew's kingdom, but one man tries to attack Z. Nagumo throws him away and suddenly sees Mew and Cory with Tio falling from the sky. Nagumo catches Mew and ensures she is safe. He advises Mew not to do such dangerous things again, and Cory cries upon reuniting with Nagumo. Tio joins them in hugging Nagumo, and they head towards Mew's home, Aris and City. Upon their arrival, everyone is shocked and they have a talk with a soldier. Nagumo explains that he will discuss everything later, but for now, he needs to reunite Mew with her mother. Mew takes Nagumo to her home with excitement, and they reach Mew's mother, Ria, who is injured with a leg injury. Mew runs and hugs her mama, and Ria cries, feeling unable to protect her. Mew assures her that everything is fine and calls Nagumo Papa in front of everyone, asking him to heal her mother. This leaves everyone in shock. Nagumo tells Mew not to worry and takes Ria in his hands. Cory heals Ra, who explains that she got hurt by kidnappers. She asks Nagumo how they met Mew, and Nagumo explains the whole story. Rimia thanks all of them and offers Nagumo to stay for a few days, but he refuses. Rimia then asks Nagumo to be Mew's forever papa, as her husband has been lost for 5 years. Kori and the others become angry, but Miu insists that Nagumo stay for a few days. In the palace, Shizuoka meets Sensei, and they talk about what happened in Sensei's village and how Nagumo saved everyone. Shizuoka asks about the report Sensei made to the king, and Sensei confirms that Nagumo has been officially branded as a heretic, despite Shizuoka's objections. The officials didn't listen. Sensei senses something wrong about it, and mentions that Nagumo revealed something to her about the god the church is worshipping. Although she has no proof yet, she promises to talk about it as soon as possible. After resting and freshening up, Nagumo and the others decide to leave Aeson and explore the sunken ruins of Melazine. Nagumo sits on the ship looking at nature when Kori and the others join him. They enjoy seeing the moon, and Nagumo gets an idea to align the conquest from Gran with the moon. The moon blinks with a glowing light, indicating a direction beneath the sea leading to the entrance of a labyrinth. As they venture forward, they encounter a strong black-red magic power approaching the ship from behind. Nagumo easily launches attacks with his new weapon, defeating the approaching monsters. They come across a pentagram symbol, and Nagumo uses the conquest to open it, revealing a lake that serves as the starting point of the underwater labyrinth. A waterfall attack approaches them, and Nagumo orders Yuu to handle it with her magic. Kori feels useless, but they continue moving forward despite the increasing water level. They defeat multiple monsters and find that the monsters are becoming weaker. Suddenly, they encounter a jelly monster. Shia tries to defeat it with her hammer attacks, but it becomes useless, and some of the monster jelly ends up on her breast. Tio quickly removes it with her magic, but the monster continues to attack, regenerating every time. Kori creates a shield to defend everyone while Yuu attacks the monster. The jelly explodes, but regenerates quickly. Nagumo identifies the monster as a monocrystal and realizes they are trapped inside its belly. The monster attacks again, and Nagumo tries to destroy his surroundings with his fire gun, but it remains ineffective as the monster keeps regenerating. Nagumo spots a flowing lake and decides to regain footing using his artifacts. He creates holes in the ground, and everyone swims through them, including Kori, who feels uncomfortable underwater. Nagumo and Yuu decide to separate, and Nagumo goes with Kori. They end up on an island, and everyone gets separated, managing on their own. Kiori looks depressed, but Nagumo tells her to stop wasting time and reminds her that they are still in the labyrinth. They start exploring the bottom and come across a ship graveyard filled with warships. The sound of a bigger ship catches their attention, and suddenly they hear voices of people as if a war is ongoing. The warships start attacking them, creating an illusion on their ship. Nagumo's bullet attacks are ineffective, but Kori defends them with a shield. Nagumo realizes they are in an illusion and starts using magic bullets instead, which work against the illusion. Suddenly, an injured man falls from the top of their ship, and Kori tries to heal him, but he vanishes. Nagumo figures out that even the healing is part of the illusion. Comforting Kori, they encounter people with swords on their ship, and Nagumo eliminates one of them. They jump to the top of the ship, and Nagumo eliminates them all. It turns out that the illusion was a recreation of a past war, using magic to twist the exploration of the Great Labyrinth. Kori feels uncomfortable looking at the dead bodies and apologizes again to Nagumo, who reminds her that it's just an illusion. Kori realizes she is dragging Nagumo down and expresses her jealousy towards Yuyu. Nagumo reassures her, expressing his love for Yuyu and suggesting that Kori stop comparing herself to Yuyu. He wants Kori to be around him. Meanwhile, Sensei is about to speak about the important thing Nagumo told her earlier when a nun arrives, intending to take her to the Divine Mountain. The nun tries to manipulate Sensei with her magic, but Sensei resists and tries to run. The nun punches her, and the whole scene is witnessed by Princess Liliana. Nagumo discovers a huge wooden ship and jumps onto it, carrying Kori with him. However, another terrible illusion begins. This time it portrays a celebration with humans, demons, and beastmen. Suddenly, the king appears and gives a speech that starts off normal but quickly takes a dark turn. The king calls them foolish and reveals his intention to eliminate them all as they worship other gods. Guards start killing everyone one by one, and the king leaves. Nagumo notices a woman in the illusion, and the illusion ends. Kori finds it difficult to watch, as it shows the madness that can be created and manipulated by a god. As they continue forward, Kori discusses the previous video vision, where the war ended but the king betrayed everyone. Nagumo defends himself from a string trap and destroys the strings near him. Suddenly, a strong gust of wind blows, causing Nagumo to lose sight of Kori. Guards surround him, wasting his time, but Nagumo manages to eliminate them. The music. Monona, he runs towards the direction where Kori lost control and keeps calling out to her. He finds Kori hiding and scared, seeking consolation. Nagumo notices something odd as she approaches for a kiss and points his revolver at her, unleashing an attack. Kori falls with a knife in her hand, and Nagumo continues firing, stopping her from speaking. He hears Kori's voice from the thing inside her body and demands that it leave her, as she is important to him. In response to Nagumo's anger, the entity leaves Kori's body, and she returns to her normal state. She kisses Nagumo on the cheek, expressing her love and desire to be by his side. As they continue their journey, they come across a magic circle and get teleported to the end of the dungeon. Nagumo didn't expect it to end so soon. To their surprise, Yuyu, Shi, and Tio also arrive with perfect timing, ensuring everyone's safety. They ask each other about their experiences, and Tio keeps asking about what happened on the island. Kori shares her experience with Nagumo, making the others jealous. They conclude the dungeon, and a woman suddenly appears, advising them not to cling to that god and to make their own decisions, living with free will. Nagumo finds another conquest, bringing their total to 4. As they prepare to enter the labyrinth sea of trees, they experience a force ejection, but Yu uses spatial magic to teleport them to a safe rock. The unkillable jelly monster reappears, and Nagumo figures out a way to eliminate it by vaporizing the jelly faster than it can regenerate. Nagumo instructs everyone to hold the monster for at least 3 minutes as he prepares. Suddenly, a group of sharks attacks the monster, buying them some time. Lei, the speaking fish and Nagumo's old buddy, appears and approaches, sensing a huge and familiar magic power. He uses the sharks to aid them against the jelly monster known as the Devourer. Nagumo prepares the missiles and launches them directly at the monster, resulting in a huge blast. In the palace, Shizuoka and the other students discuss Sensei's absence and the disappearance of Lily, Nia, and the guards, causing them to worry. Meanwhile, Sensei is imprisoned on the Divine Mountain by a woman who is trying to cause trouble. After waking up with Yu in Miu's house, Nagumo contemplates the idea of leaving on his journey again, but hesitates to tell Miu, as he doesn't want to make her cry. The others, dressed in swimsuits, play tag with Miu outside while Nagumo pee about going back. Ria appears from the water and thanks Nagumo for his efforts in making her daughter happy. She tells him not to worry and do what he must, acknowledging that they have already done so much for them. Nagumo finally decides to tell me clearly that they will be leaving tomorrow. Later in the evening, Nagumo has a conversation with the girls, discussing his plan to come back and take Miu to Japan once everything is over. Miu interrupts to announce that dinner is ready. The next morning, Miu presents them all with a charm and wishes them a safe trip. They bid farewell and leave. Meanwhile, Lily is trying to escape from the guards to inform someone about what she witnessed. Her father is acting strangely, and Yama, along with a woman, has gathered a whole army of guards. Sensei remains in prison on the Divine Mountain, hoping for Nagumo's help. The man who captured Sensei is waiting for Nagumo, expecting an end to him. Demon Lord Fred has prepared an army to fight against Nagumo and the others, intending to destroy them. In the kingdom, Commander Meld contemplates the void that is causing lethargy among knights and soldiers. He receives news that 30% of them have been affected, but the king remains safe. The commander orders the gathering of dark magicians to investigate the void while writing letters to Nagumo and Duke's Engine of Anaji about the ongoing situation. Hayama arrives to discuss something important. However, Hai starts knocking on the door with his foot, creating a strange atmosphere. As the door knocks again, it turns out to be the soldier who suddenly attacks Meld with a sword. The soldier has been brainwashed and affected by the void. Hayama comes to Meld's defense, delivering a direct hit with his sword to the commander's stomach. Captain Meld withstands Yama's sword attack and defends himself with Blitzhammer magic, throwing them both away. He picks up the sword and more guards come to Hayama's defense. Captain Meld realizes their intentions and uses a powerful wind attack to blow them away. They engage in a fight and Captain Meld successfully defeats Jose, the vice captain, along with the other guards. However, the guards and Jose stand up again, being under the influence of the void. Yama urges Captain M to give up and die, but the captain jumps out of the window and escapes. He tries to defend himself using magic, but fails and starts hearing voices. Suddenly, he encounters his god. Later, a girl appears in Captain Meld's office, along with Hayama. She discusses the intervention of the god as part of her plan and reveals that the king and chancellor have also lost their minds. The captain is out as well, so she urges them to speed up the process, throwing his letters away, and she waits to see the future she desires. Meanwhile, Nagumo and the other come across a group of 40 bandits surrounding some magicians. The magicians are using a barrier, but it eventually breaks. Nagumo swiftly attacks the bandits with his machine gun, eliminating them all. Kori tends to the injured magicians, and Lily appears, seeing Nagumo after a long time. She is overjoyed that he is alive, but Nagumo does not remember her. Lily starts crying, but Kori explains Nagumo's eccentric nature to console her. Nagumo asks why Princess Lily is out there, and she explains that Sensei was kidnapped. Nagumo and Kori are shocked by the news. Lily elaborates on the ongoing situation in the palace and how Nagumo has been branded as an enemy of God. She also reveals that a nun kidnapped Sensei and took her to the Divine Mountain because Sensei was trying to expose the truth. Shizuoka informed Lily that Nagumo and the others had traveled to the west, so Lily decided to seek help from Duke Zenin. However, she ended up finding Nagumo and the others instead. Nagumo decides to prioritize saving Sensei and assures Lily that it is not for the kingdom but for Sensei's sake, since the Divine Mountain is Labyrinth itself. Nagumo smiles sinisterly, ready to take on the challenge. In the prison, Sensei waits for someone to help her and pee the word irregular. She suddenly thinks of Nagumo, and to her surprise, he appears and breaks down the wall with magic. Nagumo tells her that he is here to save her, as Lily informs him about the situation. He breaks the magic barrier on Sensei's hand, and they discuss the ongoing situation in the kingdom. Nagumo shows his deep care for Sensei, which she appreciates, thanking him for saving her. She advises him to be careful, but Nagumo denies involvement in the kingdom's affairs, focusing on his own business. Suddenly, Nagumo detects a large number of monsters approaching Hylie Kingdom and instructs Sensei to regroup with Inagawa and the others. However, a bright light appears, leading to disintegration, and a girl named Noint, a god's apostle, appears with the intent to eliminate Nagumo. In the capital of the kingdom, the palace mirrors suddenly shatter, signaling the breaking of the Great Barrier. Tio contacts Kori and the others using the charm given by Miu. Tio explains that the whole army of demons and monsters, including the White Dragon, is approaching the capital due to the broken barrier. Ui and Shi decide to seek revenge on the demon riding the White Dragon, so they separate from the group and head towards Tio's location. The monsters continue to break the walls of the capital as they approach. Nagumo contacts Tio and asks her to come to him and take care of Sensei, as he is about to engage in a fight. Tio swiftly arrives while Yu and Shi are attacked by the demon Frey. They manage to survive, much to their own surprise. Fright orders his forces to split into 2 groups to pursue Shi and Yu individually. Miki attacks Shi and Shi successfully defends herself, telling Yu to split up and face the enemy on different fronts. Yu uses her magic circle to teleport them to separate locations, and she engages in battle with Miki. They have a brief conversation about Catalia, Mickey's red-hamed girlfriend who she previously killed in the Great Orcus Labyrinth. Mick orders She's death is revenge for Catalia, but she cleverly dodges his attacks and eliminates some of the dragons with her hammer. Mikkel switches to attacking from a range with magic and stone needles. She attaches a large iron ball to her hammer and uses it to reflect their attacks back. Mikkel tries to attack She from behind, but she kicks the iron ball straight at him, causing him to fall to the ground and die. Meanwhile, Yu continues her fight against Fred, defending against his multiple attacks. She tries to counter with lightning magic, but it backfires on her due to the influence of the turtle monsters. Frustrated, Yu unleashes her 5 Heavenly Dragons magic, which kills many of the monsters in their path. Frey launches a powerful attack, nullifying all of Yu's magic and severely injuring her. However, Waya Yu skillfully uses Revival Reversal, redirecting the attack back at Frey and restoring her own injuries. Fright attempts a direct attack on Yu with the White Dragon, thinking it's the end, but Yu uses Revival Reversal once again, redirecting the attack back at Frey and injuring him. Some dragons try to attack Yu to buy time for Frey's escape, but she survives their onslaught. She returns safely to Yu's side. On the other side, Nagumo defends himself continuously while carrying Sensei. Noint, the god's apostle, tries to strike Nagumo with her sword, but he dodges it and retaliates with multiple shots from his artifacts. Nagumo taunts No, calling her attention-seeking and questioning why she is wasting time on him instead of fighting the demons. No uses a red magic circle to unleash Hellfire Tsunami, but Nagumo defends himself with a barrier gimmick he prepared in advance. Nagumo starts experiencing the effects of magic that weakens others, having anticipated enemy attacks. He questions Nagumo's motives, suggesting that if he is in their way, they should send him back to his world. No denies his request, and reveals that her god wants to eliminate him because he has overcome every obstacle and gained immense strength. She tells Nagumo to regret not reaching his goal, as it entertains her god. No attacks Nagumo, breaking his shield, but Tio arrives and throws Noint away with her own attack. Tio then takes Sensei on her back and leaves while the real fight begins. Tio and Sensei are on their way, discussing the upcoming fight and Tio's plan to drop off Sensei first before joining the battle. However, Sensei pleads with Tu to help them despite her lack of combat experience. In desperation, Sensei bites her finger to draw blood and activates a magic circle on her hand, determined to contribute in any way she can. Tio appreciates Sensei's decision and agrees to fight together. Meanwhile, Nagumo and Noint continue their intense battle. En uses limit break magic to unleash fire attacks, and Nagumo retaliates with a machine gun and sniper rifle. However, all of Nagumo's attacks are dodged by No, who also manages to destroy Nagumo's artifacts. Nagumo attempts a limit break attack, but he can only use it to a certain extent. He struggles to figure out how to defeat No, especially since her magic power shows no signs of decreasing. While dodging No's sword attacks, Nagumo notices that her swords are weakening and about to break. He detonates himself along with Noint using his artifacts, creating multiple rings that he throws towards her. Unbeknownst to No, these rings are teleportation circles for Nagumo's gunfire. The attack breaks Noint's swords, leaving her shocked. Nagumo follows up with a powerful rope attack using his drilling artifact. Despite No's defense with her wings, Nagumo manages to drill into her body, eliminating her. As she died, Ken refers to Nagumo as an irregular, a name that intrigues him. After the battle, Sensei and Tio unleash a surprise attack by blowing up the entire church, including the people inside. Sensei begins to cry, and Nagumo comforts her with a hug. They notice a man's soul trying to communicate with them, and they approach him. The man directs them to a red magic circle, which teleports them to an unknown location. Another magic circle appears, manipulating a person's soul, and Nagumo finds a book in a ring labeled Labarn. The book, designed by the creator of the Divine Mountain Labyrinth, instructs them to defeat other labyrinths and abandon faith in God. It reveals that meeting certain conditions will lead them to this place. They realize they have successfully defeated the Divine Labyrinth, and Nagumo takes the ring. Tio reminds Nagumo to hurry as the royal capital is under attack, and they decide to regroup with Yuyu first. Meanwhile, in the royal palace, a loud crash occurs, and Shizuoka and the other girls wake up, armed with their swords, to investigate. They go to wake up Anagawa, initially dismissing Shizuoka's bad feeling as overthinking. However, they all agree together and find out what is happening in the palace, hoping for the safety of everyone. The Shizuoka arrives and reveals that the Great Barrier has been broken, and a massive army of demons is approaching the capital, shocking everyone. They decide to regroup with the knights, but Ariane suggests coordinating with Captain Meld first. The group likes the idea and heads towards Captain Meld. However, they encounter the Vice Captain and other guards, and when they ask for Captain Meld, the Vice Captain claims he is busy with something important. Shizuoka and the others sense that something is amiss, but the Vice Captain starts speaking, explaining the situation and instructing everyone to draw their swords. Suddenly, a blinding light is generated, and the guards attack them with swords, injuring everyone except Shizuoka. Nia approaches Shizuoka, seemingly asking for help, but she surprises Shizuoka by attacking her with a knife, inflicting severe injuries and restraining her hands. It becomes clear that Arin and Yama are behind the trap and the chaos unfolding in the capital. All of the group's weapons are confiscated and their hands are bound by the guards. Arin arrives and locks in Aga's neck, kissing him in the music. She confesses her long-standing love for him and expresses her desire to be with him forever, preventing anyone from leaving for Japan. Arin reveals that she has used modified necromancy to bind the spirits of the dead guards, allowing them to retain their memories and speak. She plans to eliminate everyone and bind their spirits as well. Amagawa, filled with anger, firmly refuses to forgive her. Arin declares her intention to use spirit binding to make him hers and force him to do whatever she desires. She begins by using her spell on a student named Nakamura, turning him into her puppet. Since Shizuoka and Kori have always been with Amanagawa, Ariana decides to target Shizuoka next. With the help of Nina, she injures Shizuoka and attempts to eliminate her with a sword. However, Kori intervenes, using her magic to defend Shizuoka. Kori casts a healing spell to release everyone except those under the influence of the void. Liliana arrives and joins the fight, while Hiyama betrays them and attacks Kori. Kori, on the verge of death, completes her healing spell and manages to heal and release everyone. Despite attempting to heal herself, Kori utters Nagumo's name and is struck by another attack from Hiyama, resulting in her death. The others, including Anagawa, fight against the guards and release the remaining captives, preparing to face the large army of guards. Shizuoka tries to reach Kori with Amiga's help while attempting a direct attack on Arin. However, Captain Meld steps in to defend Arin. He tries to manipulate Amanagawa, but he resists and continues to fight, although he starts coughing up blood due to being poisoned by Arin's kiss. Arin moves toward Kori to cast her spell on her, leaving everyone in shock. Nagumo, Sensei, and Tio arrive on the scene, analyzing the situation. Nagumo punches Hiyama and entrusts Kori to Sensei and Tio, who begin casting spells to bring her back to life. Arin keeps taunting them, but Nagumo confronts her and stops a guard's sword with his fingers. Nagumo eliminates Captain Meld and eliminates the surrounding guards with his machine gun. He's about to eliminate Arin, but a fire attack interrupts him, along with Yama's presence. Nagumo grabs Hiyama by the neck while monsters begin to gather outside. Nagumo kicks Hiyama out onto the monsters, killing him. A lightning attack is aimed at Nagumo, but he successfully defends himself. Suddenly, Frid the demon arrives, riding a white dragon accompanied by monsters. Tio asks Nagumo for Yoyu's help, as it will take time to join the spirits. Fright demands Nagumo's surrender, as they are surrounded by a massive army of monsters waiting to breach the walls. Nagumo uses one of his artifacts to unleash a powerful attack from the sky, obliterating the entire army at the boundaries, leaving everyone in shock. He warns Fred to stay out of his sight. Hurin takes advantage of the situation to escape with the demon, hoping to destroy them later. Yule arrives with Shi, searching for the scumbag, but is shocked to see Kori's condition. Tio and the others climb to the top of the mountain to revive Kori. Shizuoka loses consciousness upon seeing Kori's state, but Nagumo assures her to trust him and promises to bring Kori back. In tears, Kori shows her trust in Nagumo. The next morning, Princess Liliana takes on her responsibilities by writing letters to other nations, while Yuwu and the others work on healing Kori and bringing her back to life. At the destroyed church, Nagumo arrives and asks for Sensei, prompting Yuwu to suggest going to get her, as she is feeling guilty for her students' deaths and the weight is weighing heavily on her mind. Sensei expresses her anger towards Nagumo and blames herself for the situation. Nagumo tells her not to shoulder the burden alone, as she was only trying to help. Sensei shows no regret, and Nagumo most selfishly requests to continue living with those weights and emotions, as that is what makes someone human. He promises to live a normal life when he returns to Japan, which causes Sensei to break down crying on Nagumo's back. Amaga and Shizuoka continue practicing their sword skills, but Shizuoka eventually leaves to rest. Lily arrives and discusses her responsibilities in helping the citizens who have lost their loved ones in the war, including her own father. Shizuoka spends her time staring at the sky, waiting for Kori and the others to return. Amaga expresses his lack of trust in Nagumo to Lily, but suddenly they notice something descending from above. It is revealed to be Naguma along with the others, and Shizuoka joyfully approaches them. However, she immediately asks about Kori's whereabouts. Naguma informs them that Kori looks a bit different and will be arriving soon. Kori falls from the sky, calling for Nagumo to catch her, but Nagumo ignores her, causing her to fall in the same dress as No. This surprises everyone as they thought she was dead. Shizuoka, in tears, hugs Kori, who apologizes for making her worry. Nagumo explains that Kori's soul was implanted into No's repaired body, as she desired to become stronger using age magic to manipulate souls. Kori's original body is stored in a frozen state using magic and can be retrieved whenever she wants. Shizuoka expresses her gratitude for saving her friend's life. Nagumo explains the concept of the All Gods game to the others, and Anagawa expresses his desire to help the people of the kingdom. However, Nagumo refuses, stating that he cannot be responsible for everyone he has never met. This leads to an argument between them, with Nagumo ultimately calling Amaga's willpower weak. They all have dinner together, including the students, with Shizuoka asking Nagumo where they are going next. Nagumo reveals their plan to head to the Great Labyrinth in the forest. Lily asks to be dropped off in the Empire territory for important discussions, and Amala tries to join them to protect the princess, expressing his desire to obtain God's magic. Nagumo agrees, but insists on going alone to a location he knows. Sensei points out the difficulty of reaching the location with students alone. Shizuko asks to join Nagumo as a favor, and the others also express their desire to become stronger by joining him. Nagumo agrees, coming up with the idea of using them as bait in the labyrinth. Yu and the others understand the plan and find Nagumo terrifying. Nagumo tries to find Nagumo terrifying. The girls try to feed Nagumo with their spoons, creating a somewhat romantic atmosphere. Tio, being her usual perverted self, licks a fork and requests a reward of Nagumo. The following morning, everyone wakes up and Numo and the others are ready to embark on their new journey, bringing the anime from commonplace to world's strongest to a close, for now. Hope you enjoyed the anime recap. Make sure you push notifications and subscribe for the best anime recaps.